Alright, so here we are in the back lane. These are the paint marks we put down last time. I always do my marks like this. I put a little 90-degree slash in the middle, right where I want my hub to line up. So the tire goes parallel with the white line, and the hub intersects right at the little slash, little hash mark here. So they were actually supposed to pull the shoring out of here because I wanted to bridge my dunnage onto the first 10 inches of that wall, the load-bearing wall. Reason being, all this fill in here, the first probably 2 feet from the building to the lane, that's all just backfill, so it's soft. So I wanted to spread some of the load onto that structure. So I'm going to see how we can work around this or see what I can do here. But I don't like just sitting on that fill. It's quite soft. So we'll see what we can figure out. But we end up with an outrigger pinned right up against that forming panel, and the other one will sit right in front of the gate here. So it's going to be well, I know it'll work, but it is definitely tight. And then we got to unfold between this diagonal wire here, which is a 220 volt shielded supply wire. So our limit of approach on that is 1 meter or 3.3 feet. So we have to stay 3.3 feet away from that. So I'll be able to spin the boom off the truck and unfold between that wire and that wall while leaving 3.3 feet of space. The reason why we can't pull up further, which would be easier because the way the wire runs on a diagonal and then it widens out here between the wall and the wire, their parking area here, we have to leave this accessible. So that's what makes it so tight. So anyhow, I'm going to pull some fence panels down here, get rocking and rolling. But this is what we're pouring here, is in behind the fence, this whole transfer slab area today. I got the placing boom. It'll be assisting, or maybe I'll be assisting the placing boom, will be a better way to say it. And yeah, it's going to be a long day though. We only get one mixer at a time to the placing boom pump out front, and one mixer at a time to me down the back lane here. So we're in for a long one. All right, it's a little better to look at it now that I got the fence panel out of the way. These are like the heaviest fence panels ever known to man. But we got her done. So what I was talking about here, this is so soft, all this stuff. So I'm going to use my shovel. I'm going to move a bunch of material to build it up higher where my outriggers are actually going to sit, to leave some room for it to compress. To pull back these electrical supply wires, put my dunnage underneath of them, and then I'm going to bridge from the wall here back out to the lane here where it's nice and sturdy. So I'm effectively creating a bridge with timbers, and I will build that soil up high enough that it carries some of the load too. But yeah, because this first 10 inches of this wall here goes straight down to parquet level, so we're okay to put weight on that. We don't want to put load onto the suspended slab area. That's a big no-no. But the first 10 inches of the wall here is okay. So I'll get to work on this and show you a picture of the results here when we're done. Just like that. We're coming out. Let's toss these outriggers out, see how we did. See how accurate my marks were. Start with the back leg. Oh, I'll have to move that panel. That's not bad. I'm not worried about this one sitting on the sand because all of my work is off the front end. So there's really no load on this. So I'll kick that panel out of the way and then stretch that leg out another 6 inches. It's the front one I'm worried about here. See where she sits. Look at that. So that's right where I want. Like I said, I'll bridge my dunnage across here. I'll run some Dyka pads the other way, and life will be good. I'll be confident and comfortable with that. So I'll check back in here a bit when we start building things out of dunnage. As best as I can with the old hard hat camera here. So, got our timbers here. They've so graciously supplied. So I can actually get them through here. Thank you. Perfect. If you guys have like one or two more, would be perfect. I can make this work with what I got, but always ask for more because you know you're gonna get less. So lift up these cables here. We're gonna bridge across just the first 6 inches of that wall there. Actually, go a little further. We'll take it in a bit. Now I'm splitting my load between the wall and the lane weights. I know the ground is good to about this point back. It's this trench in here that is absolute junk, so I always put the longer timbers in the center right under the outrigger, and the shorter ones I'll work towards the outside. Something like this. And then something like, sweating already here. Something like that. Something like that. And something like this. And hopefully they have like one or two more pieces for me, and they grab. If you got one or two more, would be perfect. One will do, yeah. Same as these, yeah. I'll grab a couple of more of my Dyka pads. I got my rack here that holds 8 of them, and I'll throw those across. Probably running the other direction. I'm just going to see here what it looks like once I get 2 more down. I might even actually run them this way just to spread the load more across the void. That's perfect, thank you. This will work. Something like this, I got this little. That's actually a micro pile. They need to reinforce the lane here, so I'm actually in a pretty good spot with that regard. It's just the top layer of soil here that's junk. So what I might actually do with this one, maybe I'll put it up on end and just let it sink in there. I think that's what I will do. Kick this down. There we go. Yeah, see how that works. And this guy I'll run the conventional way. Like so. And then a little 2x4 spacer in here wouldn't hurt either. So I use this as my spacer. Like that. And then I'll run a couple Dykas across here, get some weight on it. It should kind of level everything out. Let's see. There we go. I told you it'd be tight. And the golden rule, we stay 3.3 feet away from that top wire at all times. That lower wire is a cable telephone wire, so that's just a no touch. Even the top one there, that's a shielded 220 volt supply wire, but you still want to stay 3.3 feet away from it, or 1 meter. So he's sweating like a dog after setting that dunnage up. Oh boy. And I'll stand here and cool off and be soaked all day, if not from the rain, from my own bodily fluids. which just is disgusting. Sorry to paint that picture for you. That's about as close as we want to get there. When I come around, I'll lower this down, and then I'm going to unfold off the front end, trying to unfold past that panel wall there. I'm confident that it will work, because we did it before on Friday. Something like this. I'll bring this down. Let's go around to the front here, get a better perspective from there. There we go. I like that much better. What I love about the 38.5 with the shorter sections, you can come down nice and low and still unfold off the cab. So we'll kick this out like so. It actually would be easier if I moved these panels, but I'm not going to. I got so much more clearance from that wire kicking those sections out. With my pipe on the second and third sections that were, or fourth and fifth I should say, it was getting close to the wire. I'm just going to do something like this. Makes me happy. We go good old water prime. It's a few strokes of water. Squirts up in the barrel while stroking. Nice. Nice small rut lips. So I'm going to put this through at about the exact same speed as what I suck my second sponge back at, which is a stroke every 3 to 5 seconds. Which on this pump, it's about a 3 on the dial, something like that. This little A-frame position. There it is, we have concrete. Away we go. Now what I'm going to do here, I primed out an A-frame. Normally with this pump I'll even prime out in a Z, but I was in an A-frame anyhow because I had to drop down an A-frame between all the columns inside to attach to my tip hose. So I'm going to revert this back into a Z fold now. Reason being, like most any Z boom, it's a lot smoother when you're really pumping hard and laying into it when it's running the Z configuration. You don't get as much of this floaty action, so it turns it into more of a side-to-side kind of a wiggle, which is much less pronounced for the hose man at the end there. So get this Z'd up and we get the next load on here because we're one truck at a time. I will crank this thing up just because I want to get them in and out of here as quick as possible and get the next truck back down the alley and onto the pump. So days like this is where I go against my usual theory of not pumping any faster than we need to. In this situation, unless I know there's going to be a big gap between trucks, every truck we need to pump off as fast as we can. So that is what we're going to do. I'll drop the second stage down a little bit. I'm going to kick that fourth stage up, third stage out, just so my last few stages are as vertical as possible. That's what the pump likes. It eliminates a lot of the bouncy action. Get it kind of like so. Typically, the further away from the pump the sections are, the later they are in construction, the more susceptible they are to bounce if they're run horizontal. So I don't mind running the main sections either. Don't mind running the main heavy sections horizontal, but these guys here like to keep vertical whenever possible for smoother pumping action. Anyhow, do a little demo here when we get the next truck on. We'll see what this thing does on volume 10. So we've got the one load pumped off here, and I always do a check on my dunnage periodically. And we are looking solid. We haven't moved or settled anymore. And as we stretch out here and get a little bit more load on the boom, I will keep an eye on that as I'm stretching out. I'm always a bit of a nervous Nelly when it comes to cribbing. As confident as I am in the setup, it never hurts to be too cautious with this stuff. So keep an eye on it, but looks good, and I'm quite happy with how the setup worked out here. So these having the marks for the tires really helped out. Typically on a lot of our sites, what we'll do is we'll put the marks down, and then we'll write a pump size behind or beside the marks, just so we know where each pump sets up, so when they pull up, they just roll right up the marks and good to go. We did not do that on this site because all we've had back here is the 24 meter. Not thinking we would ever even use this pump back here, but we are, but it's just for the one pour. So yeah, but anyhow, makes it really, really easy. You just, on pour day, you just cruise right in, right up to the marks, and bang, 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 away you go. Speed up. We are at about 115 cubic meters per hour on your AM dial. Now these remotes lie, so we're probably doing about 100 meters an hour here. You see what I mean about running it in a Z? You don't get so much of a bounce, you just get more of a wiggle. So nice and smooth at 100 cubic meters an hour here. Placing booms over there doing its thing. Yeah, this is going to be a long day here. One truck at a time in each pump. I'm glad I brought 3 separate lunches. I should be well fed for the day. So anyhow, it's going to be pretty boring here for about, say the next 11 hours. So I might check back in if something interesting, exciting, or out of the norm happens. Until then, pumpa, pumpa, pumpa. Here we are, just a trucking along at about 110 meters an hour. See how smooth this boom is, even when it's wound up. As I try and do this with one hand, my hands are too itty bitty to get both sticks with just one. So anyhow, yeah, barely any movement in that thing, and wound up here pretty good. Love, love, love this pump. Because the sections are so short on it, there's really not much deflection in them at all. So hey, I'll get back to 2 hands here. Keep my hose guy happy before he starts yelling at me. So while we're waiting on concrete here, I'm going to do a little test run. Stretch her flat out. Give her a little bounce here. Give the boom a little bounce and see what our dunnage does. Give her a little one of those. We are not moving at all. We are solid, solid. So I'm really happy with that. We'll see here how much that kicks around at the tip. Give her a few of those. And make sure we don't have any sinkage. We had our initial settlement, and we've had nothing beyond that here. So we are good. So here's the reasoning why when I test the dunnage with the boom flat out, I do it with the boom full of concrete versus with the boom empty. So each of those pipes on the pump there, without concrete in them, they weigh about roughly 8.5 pounds per foot of steel pipe. When those pipes are full of concrete, they're about 28.5 to 29.5 pounds per foot filled with concrete. So each pipe being 10 feet long, that's an extra 200 pounds per pipe on those boom sections. So I've got two pieces of pipe on the tip section, plus a couple elbows. So having that filled with concrete adds probably 425 to 450 pounds of weight to that boom section. Now, if you've ever had a boom section off of the pump and tried to lift it just for shits and giggles, that tip section there, I bet you that weighs no more than probably 400 to 500 pounds. Obviously, as the sections get closer back to the pump, they get heavier because they're bigger. But all that being said, filling that tip section with concrete, you're essentially doubling the weight of that. And that's your last section straight out on the end where all of your torque is. So the difference between this boom empty of concrete and filled with concrete, I'm gonna guess here, I'm not an engineer, this is a question I have thrown at some engineers and I'm waiting to get an answer on, but I'm gonna hedge my bet that with that boom full of concrete, when the pump is fully stretched out, I bet you the torque on the actual pedestal of the pump and the weight on the outriggers, I bet you it's double or more. So anyhow, that's why if you stretch the boom out completely empty and bounce it around, that's great and all. I mean, it's better than doing nothing. But if you've got it filled with concrete, you got maximum weight on it, then you're really testing your outrigger dunnage. I would have no faith stretching out, bouncing an empty boom, that when that boom is full and I'm pumping hard and it's, you know, bouncing away, surging, that dunnage is going to hold up just because it did so when the pump was actually empty. So anyhow, it's my tip of the day. That's the same reason why when I'm on a big boom and I prime out close to the pump rather than priming out stretched out here, I like to prime out nice and close, get a good flow going. If that means recirculating the hopper, so be it. Then when I'm stretching that boom out, it's at its maximum weight and I can see what the dunnage is going to do, rather than being fully stretched out, turning the pump on, filling 2 or 3 sections with concrete, which were formerly empty, adding all that weight in the stretched out position. If the dunnage starts to sink or move, I can't react fast enough to pull that weight back. If I'm slowly booming out and I see things happening that I don't like, I can just start bringing the boom back in and I'm good. So anyhow, that's just the way I like to do some of these things. So that's my pro tip of the day, if you want to call it that. We are rocking and rolling away with the placing boom here. It's a Schwing 41 meter placing boom, 37 meters horizontal reach. And even at that, I had to put a 20-foot hose on the end here to reach to the corner. Still about 15-20 feet short out of the whip hose. So but yeah, supply's been a little slow today, which is understandable. The regular supplier is amidst a bit of a labor dispute, so a fellow supplier, I guess, stepped in to help out for the day. So just happy to have concrete here at this point. So, and I'm just waiting on mud in the back lane there. 1 truck at a time to each pump, so we're getting some breaks here anyhow. So it's kind of funny how they got the Putzmeister logoed flag on the Schwing pump. Somebody was being funny, I think. Yeah, I think they're gonna do 1 more level of decks and then climb it, or maybe they're gonna climb it prior to that. I'm not 100% sure here. Story of my life here. We're short about 5-6 feet. Got that bloody rebar and that wall in the way. Same with the placing boom, they had to put a 20-footer on to get the far end on their side. So we're just gonna wind this up and see how far we can spray it. Got my reducer strategically placed on that 2x4 there to give us an extra 18 inches of reach. Start this off slow and get a flow, and then we'll wind her out. Make sure that boom doesn't settle down too much and end up landing on a skewered on a piece of bar. Talked to the driver before we started this load, told him we'd be cranking it up, so he'll be on the ball, keep the hopper full so we don't get any air pockets. We wouldn't want to make a mess of our beautiful graffiti art there, so. Pretty decent spray here. Got about a 5.75 on the volume dial here, and it's getting where we need it to go. once they're finished with this truck out front there, they'll buck that long hose off and get back to a tip hose. That thing bounces around like crazy with a long hose on it, so definitely less than ideal. Like I said, they just had a couple loads to do with it on the far side here, so. Anyhow, I will just keep pumping concrete through this 4-inch hose, getting it done. Which, by the way, I should mention I did turf the 5-inch. We're not really getting the greatest supply here, and I didn't really feel the need to have the 5-inch on there, so the guys would be splashing all over themselves on the top-up form. Also, it's nice to have the 4-inch on for this stuff. Makes it a little easier to spray it, as we're doing it right now. Get a little better stream out of it, shoots a little bit further, so. We'll finish this out with a 4-inch. We're at the halfway mark right now. We're at about 300 of 600 meters, so. Service has definitely picked up. I guess they had a breakdown at one of the plants there. So it was a little spotty for the first few hours, but they're making it up to us now, so it's all good. Spray the concrete. When it's stroking, I'll turn it up, shoot it, and then I'll turn it down when it's about to change strokes. Got to get in a little bit of a rhythm to do it. Once you lift that hose up again, I'll crank it up only when it's stroking, and then turn it down in between, so it doesn't pull the hose back on as hard. Like so. You turn it down, let it change, we crank it up. Turn it down, let it change, crank it up. Turn it down, let it change, crank it up. He's empty. Well, we ran into a bit of an issue here. Now we're into the afternoon rush hour, and service has ground to a near halt. We've got about 160, 170 cubic meters to go here. So you can almost taste it. You can taste the finish line. But I could see this going another 3-4 hours here by the time all is said and done. So I mean, the pour's going well, all in all. This could be a little quicker, but isn't that always the case? Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Over and out. There we go. Last couple drips with the placing boom, and then he's going to swing over and do a little piece of wall. And then we just got about a third of a load. 38 meters, square up the slab there, and we are done.